I had been traumatized, depressed, disgusted, angry, in fear, getting up in the morning and walking through the streets of Manhattan or getting on the subway, because I felt more than ever during those days in the summer of 2016, 2017, that I was a moving target as a Black man. And I had a lot to say. And so that this opera, the opportunity to write the libretto for this opera, came to me, it felt like fate, because I had to expiate what I was feeling.
My name is Briana Hunter, and I will be singing the role of Mother in Blue. The mother is someone who I believe is a person that we all know. She is educated. You probably went to school with her. You know, I think she has a graduate degree, if not more. She's someone who's very passionate about what she does. She runs a restaurant, she cooks. She loves her family. She's so hopeful in the beginning about her relationship and the birth of her child. It's really, the show really starts us off at such a high, and you get to just revel in just images and poetry about, Black love and Black motherhood right in the beginning. And then she suffers, arguably the worst thing that could possibly happen, which is the death of her son. It's stitched into the stars and stripes of the American flag. Baking a cake. Thou shalt bring forth no black boys into Girlfriend, listen, bring them men home. Put on merry white, light the candles, drop rose petals, and soar having this boy child.
Blue, it turns out, is sort of Greek in that way. 3 women, 3 men, looking at the fates about does a young Black male, what is in store for a young Black male? Has it been decided for him in the way that Greek myths, the fates and the threads are cut for someone? What would that look like? And also to celebrate the joy of being a young person, and then the other part when that person meets the world.
My name is Aaron Crouch. I am from Bowie, Maryland, and I'm an opera singer. I'm playing the son, and he is a part of this family that the show is all about. And he's very active in his community. He's young, he's about 16, 17 years old, in high school, very active. He's an artist, he's vegan, which is an important part of it, and towards the end of the show. He's very active in his community, and my father is a police officer, and so that is very difficult for him because he sees the police system as a bunch of people who don't really care about people who look like him, people of color. And his entire fight with his father has a lot to do with that, but also a lot to do with feeling resented in a way and not being seen and not being heard. And a lot of the conflicts that the father and the son have in the show, you feel that the son is honestly just longing for some type of affection from the father that shows that he cares. And it's a very difficult thing, and the son finds himself at a rally and is shot and killed by a police officer, and that is kind of the entire focus of Act Two, and seeing the journey of this family and their friends and how they're moving forward in a world that doesn't really seem to care about people who look like them.
He used to say I wanted this plan to go, for we are not one of God's favorites.
The opera had a very kind of different tract. It was originally, certainly it was always a family, the mother and the father and their son. And the son never appeared at all. And the father was a saxophone player. And the mother was a teacher. And it was Janine who said to me, why don't you make the father a police officer? She says, not that, having a black man who plays a saxophone, she says, it's not a cliche, but we've seen that. And I said immediately, I says, I'm not gonna write a police officer in my libretto, forget it. That's never gonna happen. And yet, when she said it, we were at a meeting with Francesca, going over notes. I couldn't get it out of my head. And I realized what a great idea, what a conflict it was immediately set up. What a wonderful challenge and obstacle to have the father, who's a police officer, have his son killed by a police officer. And so everything opened up after that.
So my name is Kenneth Kellogg. I am playing the father and Janine Tesori in Tazewell Thompson's opera Blue. The father just wants to do the right thing. He's done everything right in his life. He has a job, he's supporting his family, he has everything going, and he thinks he's safe as a black man in America. And he quickly realizes through the murder of his son that, right doesn't mean safe. And he has no control over his body or his son's body, And it throws his world in such a way, I don't know how to explain it. It shifts his perspective. And it turns him into an activist. It makes him question religion. It makes him question all of these things that society has said will keep you safe. And he has to come to grips with that. And I think we as a society, largely as a society, are coming to grips with that reality.
On the singers, maybe a couple notes here in the first act.
I think that the significance in this piece really lies in the opportunity for our audiences that are predominantly white to have this experience and see, things from our perspective and how we really are seen as people of color in America. And I think it gives them the opportunity to relate to the family in some ways, and how this isn't just the story of a black family where the son was killed by a police officer. This is a story of a family with real issues, and they have their conflicts, and they're dealing with loss, and they have conflicts with each other. And I think I think it's an amazing thing that, you know, after the world premiere in 2019, there were people who genuinely said, like, I felt some of the mother's pain. And even though I don't feel it as like, oh, my son is Black and he died, but like, I understand what it is like as a woman to have lost a child.
Bringing an epic story to the epic stage of the opera, where the proscenium is so high and the range of the voices is so low and so high, that it honors the epic nature of the joy and the tragedy of these stories. And there was a time in opera where it was just the gods that were brought on, and then it was mortals, but then it was only some mortals. And now what we're asking of opera is to look at all mortals, to really look at contemporary life with its joy and its tragedy, and bringing it to the operatic stage.
I think it changed my perspective of what opera could be, you know? I've been singing, and I've been singing for years. I've been all over the world singing, and opera just became a routine, you know? And then we were hearing all the news about, you know, Black bodies being killed, police violence, and opera seemed like a privilege. Here I was, you know, traveling the world, doing all of these amazing things while people who looked like me were being murdered, you know? And I say this all the time. Like, I thought about quitting opera because it felt like it wasn't serving, you know, it wasn't serving a purpose for me, a greater purpose beyond fulfilling my own desires and my own challenges. And Blue changed that for me. Knowing that I could tell a story like this and it reached people that, you know, typical opera audience doesn't, you know, get to feel this. And I think that's one of the beauties of opera. You get a visceral feeling sitting in that audience.
I think that one of the things that art does for a society, for a group of people, whether it's going to an opera, to the theater, to a dance recital, to a museum, I think art allows us, if we let it enter into us, I think it allows us to see something outside of ourselves that connects to us. And it puts us right in that situation if we are open. And I do think that part of what we do, or at least I like to think of what I'm doing, is to help not only ignite conversation, but that it could perhaps be a pathway to healing, a beginning to healing what ails us in this country. I'm hoping that audiences who see Blue will be able to step outside of themselves and see what it's like to be the other person that is not themselves. To see what it's like to walk in the shoes of a Black man, a Black boy, a Black woman. They can see that there's a real connection, that are we really that different from each other?